with 8
to do this.
The reason why he runs.
He's maybe, but. Rounds with one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he won world titles in what, 8 divisions?
8 divisions, 13 or 14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
And as much as you want to see records broken, and I want to break records, that man is a one of one.
He's a one of one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he knocked down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power, it's that explosive.
Joe Rogan has expressed his shock at Manny Pacquiao's incredible speed and power during training. Although he initially predicted a win for Mario Barrios, Rogan has now changed his stance. He's backing Pacquiao to come out on top in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, and
seeing him beat Keith Thurman at 40 years old, like, god damn, this guy's great. I mean, just look at his career with 8 different weight classes, world titles in 8 different weight classes. 40 years old, beats Keith Thurman, who's in his prime.
Right.
Crazy. I mean, what a man. I mean, what a world champion.
Well, he sure turned back the hands of time on that one.
To fucking crazy.
You don't lose that punch. Love it. Champ gonna need a new hand. We'll be eating tonight.
Oh my god, this is insane. I never imagined he'd be this fast. I know training isn't the same as a real fight, but you can't fake that kind of speed. It's gotta be real. It's in there.
One more right here, 1, 2, and. Thank you guys. I'll see you.
How's the experience A to Z? Alright, I'm gonna give you guys a rundown.
Yeah.
I'm on my first Ellie interview. This is big time. Alright, ES News. Shout out to ES News.
Thank you.
So, I came here knowing it was gonna be tough because I know I'm not a boxer, so I know the conditioning is different. But starting at the bottom of the hill, getting all the way up to the top by the Hollywood sign up, coming to the observatory is a different type of conditioning. I'm in good shape, great shape, but it's football shape. It's different than boxing. So respect for Manny being able to do this, especially at
Possesses, but it's not a thumping power, it's that explosive speed, that explosive power, the footwork he gets in position, and all of a sudden he's landed 3, 4, 5 shots and then he's angled off. A lot like I did in my fight against Lopez. A lot of that sparring paid off, and it did shape me. And I know he did put out a tweet as well, saying that I hope the sparring we did helped you in this fight, and straight away.
That's amazing.
And I was so excited. He's a legend of the sport.
He is a legend, and he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that,
Joe Rogan was blown away by the words of Cam Binham, who recently trained with Manny Pacquiao and had nothing but high praise for the boxing legend. Rogan pointed out that Binham's account was more proof that Pacquiao isn't just putting on a show for social media with carefully edited training clips. According to Binham, Pacquiao is the real deal, disciplined, lightning fast, powerful, and with the endurance of a fighter still in his prime. Rogan admitted, "At this point, I can't help but root for him." In a recent interview, UFC commentator Joe Rogan shared his deep admiration for boxing legend Manny Pacquiao's incredible training regimen as the 46-year-old prepares for his upcoming bout against Mario Barrios. Rogan emphasized that Pacquiao continues to defy expectations, demonstrating extraordinary dedication and physical prowess in the gym. Beyond praising Pacquiao himself, Rogan also gave credit to his longtime coach, Freddie Roach, expressing admiration for their training methods. and highlighting Pacquiao's ability to maintain intense focus and performance despite his age. According to Joe Rogan, Manny Pacquiao's training sessions are a true testament to his enduring passion for boxing and his unwavering commitment to excellence. Following Rogan's video, fans flooded the comments section with their thoughts on Pacquiao's return, especially in light of his intense training. One fan passionately wrote, "Manny Pacquiao is the best boxer ever, and I'm not buying into any 50-0 nonsense. You can rack up that kind of record by ducking real fighters. Your so-called legend did that too." Another added, "When you see a real fighter, you just know. Manny Pacquiao is the real deal. He doesn't box for money, he boxes because it's his life. Life feels incomplete for him without it. I truly hope he puts Mario Barrios down."
Different fucking dude.
Right.
Once he steps through that roast, like this is a whole different set of rules he's flying with.
Like,
Yeah.
Keith Thurman talking about you gonna crucify him and stuff like that, and he just
Ooh,
like,
don't say that. Yeah.
And got crucified.
Yeah, but he's super
I wish you the
religious,
best.
too.
Good luck in that.
A third fan chimed in saying, "This is training, real training. The endurance he shows is something I don't even see in young fighters. Watching his movement is incredible, and that can only come from constant jogging and road work. If there's one fighter who can pull off the unthinkable, it's Manny, and I believe he will." Pacquiao's upcoming bout against Mario Barrios has sparked major excitement, with fans and analysts alike eagerly awaiting the clash. Joe Rogan's glowing praise of Pacquiao's training has only amplified the buzz, reinforcing the belief that, even at 46, the legendary boxer still has plenty left to give inside the ring.
Abs.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. They're like a thigh.
And I know the reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big, because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger. But I understand, why his calves are huge. But he's always bouncing, he's always moving around.
Yes.
Like, he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. He'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down, and he really is.
With a career spanning over 2 decades, Manny Pacquiao has consistently shown an extraordinary ability to adapt and evolve, staying ahead of the competition through sheer work ethic and relentless dedication. As he gears up to face Mario Barrios, many are questioning whether the veteran can still compete at the sport's highest level. However, Joe Rogan's recent praise for Pacquiao's intense training suggests he believes the legend still possesses the skills, speed, and physicality to stand toe-to-toe with the best in the world.
Abs.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. They're like a thigh.
And I know the reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big, because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger. But I understand, why his calves are huge. But he's always bouncing, he's always moving around.
Yes.
Like, he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. He'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down, and he really is.
Pacquiao's training camp has been nothing short of intense, with the legendary boxer pushing himself to the limit to sharpen his skills and refine his strategy. The upcoming clash between Pacquiao and Mario Barrios is shaping up to be a thrilling, closely contested bout. With Pacquiao's relentless training and Joe Rogan's enthusiastic endorsement, fans are eagerly anticipating a spectacular performance from the boxing icon. However, while the excitement continues to build, many experts and commentators have raised valid concerns. At 46, Pacquiao's return to elite-level competition carries undeniable risks, and some question whether his body can still withstand the demands of fighting at the highest level.
Up and down, and you know, he really is an unbelievable person, unbelievable athlete, and a legend of the sport. I think as time progresses, people are really gonna, you know, appreciate his greatness.
Yeah, and coming back from defeats too. I mean, he's a guy that's had his downs. He's had his ups and his downs, and you know, he always smiling and always.
One notable reaction came from NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who appeared on episode 2325 of the Joe Rogan Experience. Rodgers expressed shock at Pacquiao's return, saying, "That's kind of crazy. He's 46 years old." Joe Rogan, while clearly impressed by Pacquiao's training, took a more skeptical angle. Rather than outright dismissing the comeback, he hinted at the possibility of performance-enhancing drug PED use, stating, "He's not going to come back at 46. On the level without something, I guarantee you." Rogan then reflected on Pacquiao's legendary career, which spanned 8 weight divisions, an unprecedented feat. Still, he cast some doubt on the authenticity of Pacquiao's physical transformation over the years, remarking, "Yeah, I mean, boxing has always had a PED issue." He went on to compare the sport to MMA, particularly the UFC, where he noted that stricter drug testing protocols have significantly altered the competitive landscape.
Tonight. Awesome. Fire.
When Aaron Rodgers asked why the UFC stopped certain practices or changed weight classes, Joe Rogan shifted the conversation to the role of the US anti-doping agency, USADA, crediting it with significantly cleaning up the UFC. To illustrate his point, Rogan brought up former UFC heavyweight star Alistair Overeem and his dramatic physical transformation before and after USADA testing, which has become a cautionary tale. Rogan explained, "Alistair Overeem is the perfect example. When he fought Brock Lesnar, he was drug tested and looked absolutely shredded. 260 pounds, solid as hell, ripped, one of the elite strikers on the planet. Brock was overwhelmed. But once they made Overeem take the USADA tests, he turned into a normal fighter with solid skills. But he wasn't the same destroyer anymore." This example highlighted how stricter drug testing changed the competitive landscape and called into question the naturalness of some fighters, physiques and performances before such regulations.
And his downs, and you know, he always smiling and always friendly to people. It's like he's so admirable just as a human being.
And it shows too that defeats, you know, I love how the UFC is, you know, losses are losses.
Yeah.
You know, boxing has this stereotype where the zero is so important. I'm undefeated, but would you rise?
At UFC 141, Alistair Overeem ended Brock Lesnar's night in just one round with a devastating liver kick that left the former WWE star stunned. More than a year has now passed since the UFC and USADA parted ways, ending a partnership that had become increasingly strained over time. This split, often seen as a drawn-out standoff, raised questions about the future of anti-doping efforts in MMA. Despite the separation, Joe Rogan continues to criticize USADA's impact on the sport. While Rogan usually offers a nuanced perspective on performance-enhancing drugs, he has been clear that he believes there are situations where the use of such substances should be allowed, rather than strictly banned.
Yeah. When you know, Manny is also like a world-class pool player.
Well, he's got the pool tables at his mansion in his house.
He's really good.
So he's non-stop.
Like he plays like a professional.
And he loves his basketball.
Yeah,
you should see this guy shooting threes. It's unbelievable.
Wow, he's a serious athlete. Yeah. Did training with him? Did you make any changes to the way you approach fights or the way you prepare for fights after training with him?
I did. I learned the 1%ers, the extra bit to do the extra rounds.
So, What's the exception that might justify the use of performance-enhancing drugs? Let's dig a little deeper. Joe Rogan explained back in 2015, "You have to work on your wrestling, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. There's not enough time in the day, and there's not enough time to recover. That's when Dr. Feelgood comes in." Satal, this was during a period when USADA was ramping up testing on some of the UFC's biggest stars, including Anderson Silva, John Jones, and Hector Lombard. Rogan described the widespread steroid use in combat sports as an epidemic, but he has never been entirely against PEDs. Even back then, he supported their use specifically for recovery and post-surgery rehabilitation, stressing the importance of fighters being able to properly heal and get back to full strength.
Extra bit to do the extra rounds. Usually before the sparring with Manny Pacquiao, you do your 8 rounds or your 10 rounds of pads and you're sparring, but that's it. You do your ab work and you finish. With him, he does his pad work, he does his sparring, but then he's on the bag, he's on the shadow boxing, he's there doing the pad work. So that extra rounds just builds that conditioning and that stamina. And that's what I just found, that push more rounds. If the body can keep going, push more and more. That's what I learned from him.
Jump ahead to 2025, and the situation hasn't changed much. The relationship between the UFC and USADA remains tense, especially after controversies around testing protocols for Conor McGregor during his recovery from a serious injury. Dana White openly criticized how McGregor was treated, and Joe Rogan, who has long been an advocate for science-based advances in athlete recovery, spoke out again on episode 2285 of his podcast. While chatting with Andrew Schultz, Rogan recalled how USADA banned UFC fighters from using stem cell therapy to speed up recovery. He said, "Well, let me tell you something. There's a reason why USADA didn't let people use it in the UFC, and now Dr. G Free Sports don't let people use it. It's because it works. It's really stupid. But the idea is that it's performance enhancing because it lets you heal quicker, heal from injuries quicker, potentially recover faster from training."
I'm excited and happy. I'm back.
What's the difference this time returning to wild card from the first time you stepped foot at the wild card to now?
The same. I feel the same, and I feel that hungriness of training, work.